Welcome back to the Real Nykel channel. I really appreciate you guys for checking out the reactions. You know, I live stream every day from 9 to 11. Catch the streams because, you know, I be genuine with my reactions and I do it. You never know which Nykel you're going to get. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the reaction. The measure that is ruining hip hop. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this motherfucking reaction.
When it comes to speculation around what's ruining hip-hop these days, there's several reasons that people can name.
Why
it's
you
too
doing that?
ignorant. Rappers stopped rapping. The rise of short-form content has even some of the most elite artists trying to make TikToks on. But today, I'm going to introduce an argument that isn't commonly discussed.
Bro, like a lot of these new rappers are making so many TikTok songs. You would think how popular it is on TikTok, it'd be just as good, you know, on the Billboard Hot 100s when it's really not. Maybe they'll have one song that's good, but then the rest of the album sales is fucking trash. Besides Yeet, I think Yeet is maybe the only. Yeet and like Doja Cat are the only people who've like gotten popular off of like TikTok and shit like that.
All has to do with first week sales.
How many faking they streams, getting they plays from
and Central C.
smoking members, niggas ain't really big as they seem.
Make no mistake, hip-hop's obsession with things like their Billboard successes and copies sold isn't anything new. In ways that other genres just don't allow for, rappers are allowed to boast about their triumphs over their fellow artists. In the past, the focus was on determining who could deliver the most impressive bars.
Go ahead, first. You can't leave your house. But we're on a ranch though, so I can't even say. But he's still, you know, he's still perked out and shit.
But now that money has become such a big factor in hip-hop, it set a new standard to measure success.
Hip-hop fans and hip-hop itself is competitive. Nobody really brags in the news as artists about chart position before hip-hop.
In a lot of ways, it's really unsurprising that today's artists have fallen into the trap. A lot of them grew up in an era where Kanye West and 50 Cent were actively squabbling over who could sell the most copies when their albums graduated.
See, at this time, I wish I actually had like interest in Kanye West and 50 Cent during that time. But also, I think at that time, I was like 10. So I had other shit that I thought that was more important.
Were released on the same day. It was a battle that Ye would eventually win, and this decisive victory really spelled the end of 50's run at the top in terms of relevancy. Before that, the G-Unit leader was contributing to this culture of numbers by going on radio shows like Hot 97 and reading SoundScan data to shade his enemies.
It's only two niggas in the world that I have ever heard go to Hot 97 and tell them, now, we not running no commercials. Hove during the Rockefeller freestyle and fucking 50 Cent every time he went up there and started reading that fucking SoundScan.
Then you had controversies like the time that Lil Wayne sold 964,000 copies of his album The Carter 4. Immediately, the news that the 2011 record had sold just a little under the million that Weezy turned in at his peak with The Carter 3 during what was a very different time for the industry aroused suspicion.
It's crazy.
At one point, Birdman had to step in to defend the numbers and reassure everyone that it was legit.
There are a lot of people saying that, oh man, we don't believe it. They bought and sold albums to themselves.
Nah,
Come on
man.
now.
That really don't make no sense. Why would we do that?
Exactly.
I mean, I press and distribute them. Ain't no need for me to buy them.
That's like hustling backwards, right?
That's hustling backwards, man. We ain't in it for that.
In the hip hop climate,
That's
that
dead ass
started
fucking
everybody wanted to be
misleading
on
the
top.
shareholder. That's fucking fraud.
People like DJ
That's
Nykel,
fraud.
who was there to see it all, believes that has bled into the culture we see today. The 90s is when the younger generation started to pay attention to record sales. And that's when the overall scope of selling records and trying to sell as many records as possible changed for the entire record business. I think people seeing other people's success becomes a contagious situation. It's fucked up how a number makes you not like a song anymore. Although it would have been bad in the 2000s, it's nothing compared to the social media age we're in today, where every Friday, fans look to see how the latest releases charted and the first week sales they turned in. Most of the time, this leads people to dismiss the project as a failure, causing the album to be largely forgotten regardless of its content. And with a single number being enough to make you not care about a project or ignore it completely, this is causing major problems for not just the conversations around hip-hop, but the actual creativity we're seeing in the genre itself. So how did we get here? And are people finally realizing that we need to fix it before it strangles the culture? The first week sales culture didn't emerge from nowhere. Like everything, the media has had a huge role in bringing this to prominence. And one of the main people leading this charge towards fixating on first week sales is DJ Academics. Looking back, he's been feeding into this narrative since 2014 at least. Not only publishing first week sales every single week on his social media accounts, but constantly explaining why they apparently are so important for how we perceive artists.
It's where these academics are now with the harsh realization. When you realize that your fucking album you just dropped actually flopped. Now we got two definitions of what a flop is. We got a fan flop and we got a record label flop. Now to fans, which is us, we see a flop as anything that's not competing with everybody else. For example, J. Cole or Drake or Kanye, they drop an album and it does about 500,000 first week or so, right? Or even in R&B, say like R&B singers drop an album, they do like 150, right? We think that any other artist, if you not competing with that, nigga, you flop. Nigga, your shit just flopped. But now, for a record label, it's different. Because for a record label, what they consider a flop, they'll think your shit is a dud, a waste of time, basically a drink coaster in a fucking jewel case if they didn't recoup, so it's kind of relative.
At every opportunity, Academics has gassed up rappers and celebrated those who are doing major numbers. Just look at how he reacted to Lil Durk breaking the 100K mark.
That nigga work, he just did 120. Yo, clap it up. Can we look at that real quick? Lil Durk, 7220 sells 120 first week. Big dog shit. I'm sorry. Good shit. That's great sales.
He did work with Drake.
From this is that
That's a
there's
Drake
no
event.
analysis of the project or why it was receiving these numbers. Ultimately, Academics rarely talks about the quality of the output, and instead focuses solely on the sales and the criteria for who is a big name. And for every celebration of people like Drake, he also weaponizes those numbers when one of his enemies is perceived to have flopped, as was the case when he was feuding with the City Girls.
And I talked to almost the head of the RIAA. If you don't know who that is, that's the organization that actually certifies albums. So if your favorite album by your favorite rapper is Diamond, they do it. Platinum, they do it. Gold, they do it. They told me this shit went 15 times plastic. This shit was ridiculous.
Damn.
This shit was ridiculous. They said, this is the first triple plastic certification we given out. He said the last time they dropped the record, it went double styrofoam.
A self-described numbers guy, Academics has even argued that Views is a better album than Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, and that K-Dot pales in comparison to Drake as an artist based on nothing other than this data.
To Pimp a Butterfly first week sold 324,000.
Okay, you might have to go to 16 where he drops Views. Views obliterates that.
Yeah, but I always have felt that if Kendrick, J. Cole, and Drake all dropped on the same day, most people would listen to Kendrick first.
They definitely would. Yes, they would.
Absolutely.
Yes, they would. Let's be 100. Everybody would listen to Kendrick before Drake. Let's be facts. Because Drake drops so much. Kendrick, his is quality over quantity. Drake, yes, it's gonna be a fucking banger, and he drops a decent amount. But I'd rather get somebody who has better quality, who doesn't really drop as much the first listen to, because I've been waiting on Kendrick for fucking years. Drake, you already know you gonna be hopping on somebody else's track, whoever's hot, or you put out a fucking album next year in a couple months, you go on a motherfucking collab album or whatever. You probably already got the hot song or the fucking summer or some shit. I'm going with Kendrick first. And J-Fo, we're not even gonna start on him.
Yo.
He's more anticipated.
Facts.
He has way more Grammys.
I don't care about the Grammys.
He's more artistic.
Facts.
He's not as much of a pop artist. I get that. You disagree with me?
Listen.
You disagree with
Oh
me?
God, Drake is a pop artist. I know y'all heard that shit.
There's a couple problems with that. First, it goes
the
against some of the basic
Guan the
It used to
Island.
be about the best
That
lyricists
shit.
coming out on top through skill and talent. But now, it seems like success is more about following trends or relying on famous collaborators rather than pushing boundaries and improving your craft. Besides that, as a majorly influential figure to younger fans, Academics treating hip-hop this way means that other people are going to follow suit. Through just looking at the numbers of the first week, it can't necessarily assess quality. It could be saying like fast food is a gourmet cuisine just because more of it is consumed. In fact, some argue that it isn't the numbers in the short term that matter, but the legacy of the project. So this makes first week sales a false measurement of success. A prime example of this is Nirvana's iconic album, Nevermind, which only sold 60K units in its first week, but eventually achieved diamond status. Despite this, we are currently in a culture where if enough noise is made about poor sales, the album won't get a fair shake. JT from the City Girls once pointed out that the low first week sales of their album Raw and the negative reaction it garnered on social media made it seem like the album didn't stand a chance.
If you don't go hard with promoting your shit and putting it in people's face, like, of course it's gonna miss people, and I feel like it missed a lot of people, and then by the time people discovered it, it was discovered as a joke. Like, a lot of people found out through our record sales because that was probably the most viral thing.
And rather than the City Girls accepting the fact that first week sales are pretty much pointless, their focus on the numbers has gotten worse.
See, that's what like Schoolboy Q, that's what he was like, made Crash Talk his least favorite album, was because for that one, he was coming off of Blank Face, and he was more focused on first week sales, and he said that he got in his head about that shit, and so he was just trying to make it like perfect instead of finding like what he would like. And honestly, I didn't really like Crash Talk. There are some good songs, but I feel like he did a whole lot. It was, you know how people oversaturate their album with fucking a lot of famous people, because you gotta remember he had fucking Travis Scott on there, he had Black, he had 21 Savage, he had Kid Cudi, he had who the fuck else did he have? He had a decent amount of fucking people on this album. What's it called? Crash Talk. So you're just not gonna show me the fucking people who's on it. Yeah, Lil Baby, had Ty Dolla $ign, YG. Like, bro, he had a hell of people on there. Look, like, you can tell, these are all the people, you know, Travis Scott is still hot, but he was already hot back then. He was, you know, definitely Black, you know, 6 Lack, Ty Dolla $ign, YG, all fucking, you know, dope artists, shit like that. But his songs were fucking, what else he had? I'm pretty sure he had other people. Hold on. Let's go to Spotify. Alright. Travis Scott, Black, Ty Dolla $ign, YG, 21 Savage, Kid Cudi. Okay, no, so it's just all of them. But still, though, I still feel like it was kind of like, let's see how many songs he had by himself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many songs he had with other people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just 2 songs off that he only had, you know, by himself. It still was pretty saturated with other people. And I feel like when artists, they oversaturate their album, like, it's not, for me, I don't like it. It's not that good to me. It's like, oh, no. It's like when Gunna and what the fuck is his name? And Young Thug, they both dropped the same day, and people was trying to say that, you know, Gunna's coming off them, you know, him being a rat and shit like that. And yeah, I think I like Gunna's album way better because Young Thug's album, Jeffrey, had way too many fucking big artists. It had Travis Scott, it had Drake, it had Lil Baby, like, it had a whole lot of people.
That recently, she tweeted a full-on guide on how to stream her album correctly. Because of the fear of getting mocked over their first week numbers, Some people who've based their entire identity on sales can be left looking goofy because of this pressure. Whether you're an up-and-comer in the game or a veteran, the pressure to sell doesn't discriminate, and when it hits, the effect can be devastating and lead to public meltdowns. After dropping lines like, "To be the queen of rap, you gotta sell records, you gotta get plaques," on the track Make Love with Gucci Mane back in 2017, it wasn't surprising that Nicki Minaj had a meltdown when Travis Scott beat her on the charts.
Whole nigga of the week, of course, is Travis Scott.
What?
Travis Scott on Thursday, when he realized the Queen was about to have the #1 album in America, he and his label decided to have Kylie and baby Stormy put up a tour pass. How are you selling something?
That's called marketing. That's called marketing. I can't even can't be mad about that. You should have already had your baby in your fucking your child predator husband do that shit, but it probably wouldn't have done the same thing. It definitely would have done the same thing. I can't even
That does not have anything to do with your album, but it's being counted on Billboard as album sales. But what we not gonna do is have this auto-tune man coming up here selling fucking sweaters and telling y'all he sold 500,000 fucking albums, because he didn't. You stupid fuck.
Left so angry
That's
that she
crazy.
wasn't #1 in first week sales that she honed
That's
in
what
on
was good,
Travis's,
though.
Nicki focused solely on Travis's success.
I definitely listen to album. How about to say listen to albums? Definitely listen to Astro World. I haven't even listened to Queen. I ain't gonna lie. I listen to Travis Scott.
Overlooking the fact
but I like
that
Nicki
she had
Minaj.
offered
But I just
her
don't listen
album
to her
with a
shit.
special $5 bundle, including a poster and a free trial to Tidal. On top of that, she added the #1 hit Fifi with 6ix9ine to the project
Oh,
after
yeah.
its release, all
Forgot
in an
about that.
effort to boost her numbers. This highlights the unhealthy obsession with sales above all else. It sometimes turns artists into hypocrites as they prioritize numbers over their artistic integrity. For an example of this, look no further than the change in mentality of French Montana.
Frenchie
since the first
Montana!
sales era really got underway. Back when he was first dropping records, French used to be unmoved by it, as he cared about the lasting impact. In 2013, he was saying things like, "I really believe it's not what you sell, but where you end up at." Look at Akon. He sold 17,000 in his first week. He ended up selling 5 million copies. Look at Shaggy. He sold 10,000 and ended up at 10 million. I know it's going to last forever. I know once people hear it, people will be like, "Damn, this is really it." After all those big claims back then, his lengthy time in the industry,
It ain't about what you put out. It's about the consistency. And it's about the quality of your artwork and stuff like that. It may not be good, or it may not be perceived as good at the time, but over time, if people, you get your fans, they really gonna fuck with it. Just like fucking Tyler Creator Cherry Bomb, bro. A lot of people did not like that fucking album. Me, I love that album when it came out. Everybody's like, "Damn, this don't really flow together. Like this is kind of crazy. What the fuck?" But now everybody just loves that album, bro. And I've been loving that album. Even Jalen was like, "I don't even know how I feel about this." I'm like, "Bro, this shit is fucking fire as fuck." And he loves the song. He
I bet
loves
he's
the
also one of the
album.
many who have fallen victim to it now. And as I explained in my detailed breakdown of his career, he started doing anything he could to boost those sales, even if it meant that he had to scam his fans. But even after all that went down, French would go on record complaining about how artists had been forced to comply with this culture.
We all brainwashed is gonna have the biggest numbers. It's taking the love out of music. People are not making the music that they love no more. People are chasing those numbers. And how you chase those numbers, you go to Rap Life, you go to Rap Caviar, you go to whatever it is. This is what the best songs sound like. I gotta make a song just sound just like that. That's why every time a #1 hit, everybody try to make the beats just like it.
Rather
That's
than
facts.
being an issue that
Bro,
rappers
everybody be on fucking drill beats. Are fucking hot right now. Everybody trying to be on fucking drill beats, bro.
contend with, French then said it was affecting the quality of the music.
Niggas ain't standing on nothing. Niggas ain't saying it. Niggas ain't standing on no style. Niggas ain't stand. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody.
Like when
that
niggas
really-
doing auto-tune, niggas start like the Migos shit like that. People were doing the fucking, the fucking ad-libs and shit. Everybody's doing the ad-libs and shit. That's why I fuck with Tyler, because you're on the
envelope.
lyrics and
You know
shit.
what I'm saying? Everybody's brainwashed. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like from the numbers to the swag to everything. It just is, you know what I mean?
Obviously, coming from him after the Mac and Cheese 5 situation, people thought this was
Who the
really
fuck names this
Bro
album
calling
Mac and Cheese
himself
5?
out. Bro literally dropped 8 versions of the same song for streaming purposes. French never said he was immune to it all, but someone who's been in the game for so long, suffering from it so badly, shows the depth of this problem that's been created by the media, fans,
Can't get mad.
Come and take a look and see what we got.
The #1 movie in the world is Garfield.
Oh, hey.
And the rappers themselves. Considering people like French and Nicki are so entrapped by it, some people might think there's no hope. But there are signs that people are finally waking up to it. For example, after the release of his new album, Lil Yachty showed what dropping the obsession with first week sales can get you. On his podcast, Yachty has made it clear that he's knowledgeable about the financial side of the game.
I mean, Wayne did $1 million on a leaked bootleg album. The Carter 3, I had that album months before it came out. By the time it came, absolutely. Nigga at the barbershop had it in the back of his Buick.
And over the years, the ATL rapper has struggled with trying to get the numbers he wanted, to the point that it made him doubt the worth of projects like his debut, Teenage Emotions. When I first released my Teenage Emotions album, I thought that shit was fire, as you should. Then the sales came back and it did 44,000 in the first week, and I was devastated and so confused. I worked so hard. Since then, Yachty has gone back and forth when it comes to sales, peaking with 64K for Lil Boat 2, which was widely regarded as a pretty poor record. Now, Yachty has found his identity as an artist, and in what should be a lesson to other artists, freeing himself from that mindset of focusing on first week numbers allowed him to make the most acclaimed album of the year. Let's start here. I did what I really wanted to, which was create a body of work that reflected me. He said of dropping the psychedelic project. I was kinda nervous to put out music, but now I'm on some other shit. It was a lot of self-assessing and being very real about not being happy with where I was musically, knowing I'm better than where I am. Because the shit I was making did not add up to the shit I listened to. I just wanted more. I just want to be remembered. I want to be respected.
Once you make that, once you have that conversation with yourself, like, man, this ain't even the shit I actually want to do. Because people will feel it, especially when you're making music, bro, making content, shit like that. If you're doing something that you really don't want to do, you're just doing it for the money or some shit like that, it's not gonna be genuine. So you won't fuck with it, and the people won't fuck with it, and you'll see it. But once you start making shit, all right, this is what I like. This is the shit I listen to. This is how I want to make my shit. I'm tailoring it to where I want it. And if they like it, they can. If they don't, fuck it. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta make it personal to you.
Following its release, Yachty's Let's Start Here sold 37K in its first week. That's a little more than his last album, but almost half of Lil Boat 2. However, these numbers don't really mean everything, because where Lil Boat 2 did better initially, Let's Start Here is a project that's now beloved by fans.
Yeah, everybody loves that shit.
The album was outsold by Trippie Redd's Mansion Music, a 25-track long album that hasn't exactly been hailed as a classic. And this, in a nutshell, is why first week sales aren't the crucially important metric to determine success, as so many people like to pretend they are. Because if the record is disposable, then those numbers aren't going to last compared to a great body of work. And these days, more and more people are waking up to that. On Trippie's record, he basically delivered 25 tracks, which didn't stray too far from what he had done before. If you're trying to maximize first week sales, that's a good plan because you'll be appealing to what's popular at the time. But even that is starting to lead to a decline and actually affecting those numbers that everyone is so hyped for. It's even leading hip-hop to lose ground to other genres, and it's got people like Offset thinking we're focusing on the wrong things.
I'm noticing that, like, the numbers are down in our genre specifically because I feel like
everybody's doing the same thing.
So the same. Like,
yeah.
The next new is another that was just here. Like, it's nothing new being brought to the game, not just on the sound side, but just all the way around as, like, creatively too. Like, the most videos be like a Rolls Royce in the background, two chains on, and that shit getting boring, fellas. It's like no real entertainment while you got these pop and these country artists smoking shit because they coming with the full round, like the full package. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't the same. Like, they telling stories and real songs.
Everything ain't flexing.
In the view of Offset, it's more projects like Yachty's that we need, and less that are just rehashes of what has already been done. And with the numbers down, what do these rappers really have to lose? Well, unfortunately, until we change the conversation around first week numbers, there's a lot. Because if they spent some of that energy trying to work out how to increase their first week sales into actually growing their connection to their audience, then they can succeed without ever having to worry about that. And it seems that the real way to get the bag comes from having a dedicated fan base who are always ready to show out for you. And no one has put this better than Mr. Joey Badass. After taking 5 years out of the game, Joey returned in 2022 with the album 2000. But rather than sweating the numbers he did, he focused on what really counted. I feel really compelled to say, fuck first week sales. They simply do not matter anymore. I mean, when's the last time anyone you know bought an album? We can all stream anything we want, but in order for it to count as an album sale, you need to listen to every song like 1,000+ times.
This is crazy.
They're trying to make it seem like everybody flopping when in reality, they changed the rules. So someone please tell me why the fuck anybody is still worried about that. They're trying to take the power from the musician because they never learned how to measure influence properly. At this point, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the music. Unsurprisingly, saying that got him some blowback from those obsessed with numbers. But Joey had the answer to that by showing that he had something a lot of major stars who do better first week sales than him don't. And that's the ability to sell tickets and make some real money. In the streaming era, everyone has ignored making something engaging in favor of making what really sells. As a result, the focus on first week sales has stifled rappers from taking chances because they want to be seen as doing mainstream numbers. Now, with hip-hop sales on the decline and audiences getting restless, it's time for people to take more chances.
You really got people just talking about shit with doing drugs, fucking bitches, drinking alcohol, having a nice car, fucking $1 million on your body, shit that you wearing a Myriad, Balenci, traveling and shit. What else? You got bitches out there popping their coochie, saying fucking nigga, my shooter will slide on you. It's really the same shit every single fucking day, honestly.
Other than wondering about what figure DJ Academics is going to post after your album has been out for a single week. Because if you make something really great, then whether it's through people flocking to your shows or organically making a big splash on the charts, the talented rappers will get what they deserve.
That's factual.